Animas County Fair. It's a beautiful Friday morning, and we are getting ready for a good old-fashioned poultry and rabbit show. Chickens and bunnies coming up, folks. Going to start with the rabbit breeding show here in just a moment. And as we are preparing for those things, want to mention and give a huge shout out to our sponsors that have been so critical in helping us keep the bills paid and keep the lights on. And the majority of those bills is really paying these student broadcasters and buying equipment when we need to. We're going to start off with thanking Colorado Fence and Welding, the Sumter family. You can reach out to Justin at 719-859-1027. Fencing projects large and small all throughout southern Colorado, northern New Mexico, and the surrounding areas. The Huerfano Los Animas County Early Childhood Advisory Council, offering assistance and service and educational opportunities for families with children throughout Los Animas and Huerfano County. We appreciate Hula and their support of our broadcasts. Rattlesnake Fencing, Sean Zelian family. Might be familiar with them from High Desert Outfitters. Well, they are starting up a fencing business. You can get in touch with them at 719-680-1933. Thank you to Rattlesnake Fencing. Wilkinson Gelbvieh Ranch. Bill, Nancy, and Sydney in the Gelbvieh business have been raising Gelbvieh cattle since the 1980s. I remember the 1980s. That makes me a little bit dated. I won't. I'll let you do the mental math on that one. But big shout out to the Wilkinson family, not just for being a broadcast sponsor, but for being huge sponsors of the rest of the Los Animas County Fair. We do have one final sponsor. It's LARCC Trucking. We actually have a commercial prepared for them. We'll play that here in a little while. But it looks like we are getting ready for beginning this show. It's a breeding rabbit class. And we will bring up our exhibitor list here just momentarily.
I believe we've got Eleanor Compton and Caden Salapitch with their breeding bunnies.
Yes, we know one of them very well.
Cousin of ours.
And Caden Salapitch, got to know her very well during the Hog Show. She did very well, reserve grand champion. But we can still see a little bit, you know. Yeah, we're just discussing the camera angle here at the Poultry and Chicken Show. We're up here in the Crow's Nest, which was great for the more traditional in-ring shows. But here, you know, you never are quite sure what direction the judge is going to be and where they're going to have the competitors. Looks like we might be looking over the shoulder of the competitors. Well, and we'll kind of alternate between our two cameras here, see if we can kind of get between the competitors and get you at least as good of a view as we can today. And we do have quite a few classes, so this Poultry and Rabbit show could take a little bit of time today. Looks like our judge has made her decision. Going to go over and grab the mics. We'll take a listen to see what reason she gives here in this first class of the day.
Can you guys hear? Oh, there it is. All right, I'm going to step out of the way here so you guys can get some good pictures while I talk. So we have our commercial does over 6 months here. These two rabbits are very interesting because they have very different qualities. So the little doe on the left, the lion's head Polish, I believe is what she told me she is. She is quite adorable. She is definitely not as good of a meat production rabbit as the one here on the left, or on the right, I'm sorry. But she has qualities that if my children were looking for a pet rabbit, I would probably go with that one compared to our doe on the right here. So a lot of it depends on the purpose and what we're looking at our rabbits for. Today, I'm going to base my decisions off of meat production. So the little Palomino color on the left is going to be second, and the New Zealand Rex is going to be first. We were also talking, I don't know if you guys could hear me when we were talking about the fur quality on this little Rex New Zealand. If you guys have the opportunity to come up and look at her, it looks like Rex fur, but it feels like New Zealand fur, and it does not stand up. You can't imprint a handprint like you could on a normal Rex fur, but it has the density of Rex fur. So it's we're talking about that and how interesting that is. But she also has a very good loin, very nice wide loin, which is what you would look for in a market rabbit and a meat rabbit. And it sounds like she has been bred probably to produce meat rabbits, market rabbits, and she has the body type and the ability to produce market rabbits very well.
Yeah. No. Okay, our reserve grand champion rabbit goes to Eleanor Comden. And our grand champion rabbit goes to Cadence Salapich. The buckle is donated by Amanda the Moore Ranch, in memory of Jim Oatman. Thank you today for our donors and congratulations.
All right, so you heard it right there, folks. Cadence Salapich continuing a pretty good county fair. She had reserve grand champion market swine earlier this morning. Grand champion breeding doe here, and then
if I could
reserve
have
grand
the
champion was Eleanor Comden. Now moving right on to the open show.
Aubrey Salapich, Harper Bowen, and Bailey Bowen, and Casey Moore.
And we've got a whole lot of cute competitors in the ring today.
So this is the open show. Our youngest 4-H Clover buds, not quite old enough to be official exhibitors as 4-H members quite yet. But they still get to come out and bring in their animals. Sometimes it's theirs, sometimes it's an older siblings. Sometimes, as the case is
And
on
Kimberly
little Eleanor
Comden.
Comden over there, you may not be tall enough to be on the barely reach over the table. Lots of fun today. Well, I'm
Yeah, but as we're sitting here in this rabbit show, it's just a special opportunity for these young junior showmen. Most of these youngins are clover buds, just to get their hands on an animal and get them used to being in the show ring. And
Peyton Nelson, Caleb Terry, and Gabriel Williamson.
And we do love that the judge is taking her time going through and talking to each of the junior showmen. Having a word with them, asking them about their bunny and seeing what they know. Here, do you want me to plug it in lower? Right, but do you want me to feed it? Do you want me to feed it through lower?
Yeah.
Cool.
Just so we can.
Sorry, folks, we are rejiggering our camera setup a little bit. We'd love to bring you some better camera angles of this here rabbit show. Our spot in the crow's nest is not exactly ideal for the broadcast, but I think we've got it to where we can have a real close view for you in just a few moments. Maybe once we get into the market classes. We don't need a screen. Actually, no, we will for... Okay, never mind. Because we don't have, like, any other converters. Right. I didn't think about that.
Are you on your camera right now?
Mm-hmm. And you know what's fun is we see a lot of these same clover bud 4-H'ers show in multiple open classes. I think we've seen Mr. K. Seymour show lambs and goats prior to today, so it's fun seeing. I think these other youngins have been in other shows as well, so it's very, very fun to see. Now we're just going through, have everyone say their names to the microphone.
Bailey.
Sorry, am I going too fast?
Aubrey. Austin.
All right, let's give these guys a round of applause. They did a very good job today.
Big hand to all of our Clover Bud showmen getting their toes wet in the world of bunny showing. All fun. And I think for their efforts, they all get their little participation award as well as a little bit of cash to buy themselves a treat. I believe next up into the ring, we will have our classes of market chickens.
Okay, if we could have the market rabbits, pin of 3, please enter the ring. Tucker Lisenby, Sage Moore, Peyton Nelson, Caleb Terry, and Gabriel Williamson.
And here we have our pen of 3 market chickens. I said chickens. Market rabbits, excuse me.
And then when she's ready for you, she'll have you get them out, okay?
Alrighty, folks. Sorry for that brief pause in our super engaging commentary. But we now have a fresh angle of the action. We've got Mr. Brad Doherty has gone down to the side of the ring now, and he is bringing you a slightly better angle of our coverage. As our judge is now assessing these pen of 3 market chickens. I keep saying chickens. Pen of 3 market rabbits. Goodness. See, I myself, back in my day as a 4-H showman, my big thing was chickens, so I'm used to the pen of 3 market chickens. But we've got our rabbits here today, and so in my very limited rabbit judging experience, I believe what the judge is looking for is the musculature of each rabbit, the overall meat that it does have on its body, but also the uniform qualities across all three animals. So it's cool to see the judge taking her time, examining each rabbit very intentionally, very particularly, and really just being thorough with all their animals. It's what you love to see. You'll notice that there's a whole lot of supporting cast in the ring for each and every exhibitor right now. Is for these pen of 3 rabbits, it's pretty common to just have one person for each rabbit, as everyone just holding the rabbit, making sure it's there to be presented, and going from there.
Our judge today is Christina Davis from Hudson, Colorado. She has over 24 years of experience working with small animals. She was a former 4-H'er from the San Luis Valley and also very active when she was in 4-H on the state officer team. So let's give our judge a round of applause.
A little bit about our judge for the afternoon. Finishing up this market class, judge going through and getting each 3. I think it's always interesting with the market rabbits. You see right there on your screen, folks, that she's got the bunny laid down on its back and just kind of checking all the angles, and you're really kind of checking where all of the main meat is around the bunny, on the bottom of the legs and down the back. And I think it's always fascinating how the bunny just kind of will sit and lay there. You flip them over, and they just kind of sit. But first, you put them up into a ball like there. You kind of see where their ears sit, and you put them down their back. And once you got them by the back, the judge, you see the judge has her right hand just kind of on the bunny's scruff. So she's got him by the ears, but the bunny just kind of laying there, just kind of in little bunny heaven, just enjoying all the attention. And it's kind of fun to watch. I don't know about what y'all think. You know, I'd love to see one of the larger animal judges do the same thing. You know, if we get a hog judge, it's like, all right, time to roll him over. Just kind of lay the hog down and flip him. That'd be fascinating to see. Part of the competition. You see the judge has them all lined up 3 in a row, just trying to look for maybe uniformity, such things. Now on the far end, I believe, as our last set of 3. Unfortunately, I don't have the names of these young competitors for you. Getting a look at these bunnies. Now, folks, as far as the rest of this market class goes, I believe this is the only class of market rabbits. I don't think we have any more bunnies to come into the pen unless we have... We already did breeding, so I don't think there's any of that. So we're taking our time on this class, is trying to find the most fitting champion. Love to see it.
Is that what that needs? Okay, yeah, you can take it. Do you want to get on the mic?
Folks, we are joined in the booth by a young Mr. Will Doherty, set to exhibit his market chickens in just a few moments. Will, we are looking at the last, I believe the last set of 3 market rabbits. What are your thoughts on this poultry and rabbit show to be had?
It's a ton of fun. I think that everybody's gonna be enjoying themselves today. You know, they're not big animals; they're fun animals. So I really enjoy it. I got my ducks here in a few minutes, and I really enjoy seeing all the help everybody gets with their rabbits, and it's a whole community event that people just like to be around. So I'm excited.
Absolutely. I mean, take a look at this angle of the camera. We've got 3 people for each set of rabbits. We can't let any of these rabbits get loose. Will.
No rabbits loose,
There's-
or else Brody would have to catch them.
There's much security. I would have to jump over this booth
And
take
catch
care of
them.
those bunnies.
It'd be crazy.
But Will, as far as your ducks go, do you just have market ducks today, or do you also have breeding ducks?
I also got some breeding ducks. I got 2 pairs of breeding ducks and 2 pens, which are individual market hens. So I'll be doing that. And I show right after some of these rabbits. So my market class is up on dock, I think. Up on deck.
Up on deck?
Up on deck. Or in the
Nice.
hole. I don't really know.
I don't know. Some of them track turns. That's all right.
Yep.
Well, I should probably let you get back to your ducks.
Thank you, sir. Brody, doing a great job.
Thank you, Will. Will Doherty, folks, a Branson High School junior, rising senior for the upcoming academic year. He's got ducks. He was the pioneer of the duck showman here at the 4-H fair, the first duck showman we've had in recent and not so recent memory. We got a word from the judge. Fairly soon. She's taking her time to examine each and every one of these rabbits and is ready to place her class of 3.
All right, so before I go through placings on these guys, I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're looking for. So unlike most other animals, when we are judging market rabbits, what we're looking for in a pen of 3, I want to see identical rabbits. I should be able to not tell the difference between the 3 when I'm judging them. So we want same size, all of them should be the same gender, same attributes. So some of the challenges to this are the coloring patterns. So it's easier with something like the solid blues or the California patterns because you can consistently get these same patterns. They consistently visually look the same. Some of the other attributes, the solid blues, those are also good just because they're solid blue. There's not the broken patterns, there's not, this one has more color than the other one. And if I was judging them from a breed standard standpoint, there's a whole other category for the broken patterns and what exactly we're looking for. But when it comes to market, really we just want them all to look the same. The other part of this is you have to think of all market animals is as a consumer, would this animal be ready to take to my table for dinner? So when we're looking at something like The Rex crosses, those ones, there's some of them that are much younger than others. I'm sure you guys can tell, even just looking at the size difference of some of these on the table. It was 1 to 2 pens that are probably ready to butcher in the next 2 weeks, maybe 3, and then the other 2 probably need another month or so before they'd be ready to butcher. So that's something else to keep in mind. They are on the younger side when it comes to judging these animals. We do also have to consider raising animals for fair. There's a lot of rules as to when they can be born and when you have to own them and stuff like that. So that also creates another component. But these guys did a very good job of raising healthy market rabbits. There is nothing that I found that I would say, this rabbit is not a good market rabbit, that this rabbit shouldn't be continued to be raised and butchered for meat. When it comes to fur quality, that's another thing that's very interesting. We can use rabbits for fur as well. We usually use Rex rabbits. There are some that could potentially be full-bred Rex, and they do have a very good fur quality. So that needs to be taken into consideration as well, as what is the purpose of this rabbit. So as far as placements for today, and in 30 days this could be completely different because these rabbits are going to continue to grow and change. But for right now, we are going to go 5th place to the blues, 4th place to the broken, 3rd place to the other brokens, 2nd to the Rex New Zealand, and 1st to the Rex Lilac Rex Himalayan.
And there you have it, folks, your placings.
They are all really good. The biggest determination between all of these was consistency in the pins, consistency in the size of the meat, and readiness to butcher today.
And there we have it, folks. Down on the far end, your champion rabbits. I think we'll get the names of the individuals in a second from Miss Lori Arnold.
Our market rabbit class grand champion market rabbit goes to Gabriel Williamson. Reserve champion goes to Sage Moore. 3rd place goes to Peyton Nelson. 4th place goes to Caleb Terry. And 5th place goes to Tucker Lisenby. Congratulations.
And there you have it, folks. Your grand champion for market rabbits goes to Gabriel Williamson Reserve, Sage Moore.
Our grand champion market rabbit is donated. The buckle is donated by Comey Funeral Home.
Very, very cool. There's our market rabbit class. Always interesting to see how like Will Doherty said, who came up here just a second ago for our surprise guest interview. These are fun animals, 100%. We enjoy our large animals, our steers, our pigs, our lambs.
Our Reserve Grand Champion Market Rabbit Buckle is donated by Nicole and Kenny Foster.
Very, very fun. But like we said, these are fun animals. They're little ones for rabbits and for any of your poultries. You can kind of just set feed out for them and kind of forget them. Just let them eat and let them get big. It's interesting seeing how these kind of classes are judged. You know, like the judge in this case was very much looking for uniformity in the bunnies. And for market rabbits, when they're talking about, you know, you want a pen of 3, because you could pick, you absolutely could pick for just the size. Your biggest rabbits that have the most meat on them, you could pick for that. But since rabbits are almost dual-purpose creatures, they have, you got to consider the pelt as well as the meat. And so what they're really looking for is uniformity. And I respect the judges' choices there for sticking with uniformity and going for that. I think next up for our poultry show, we've got our open poultry class with 2 entries. We've got Nash Comden and a young Mr. Dolerick. Two cute little fellas with 2 little birds. You can just see the intensity in these young men's eyes as they're holding their chicken. They're not going to let that chicken get away. Absolutely not.
With the next class be getting ready, market
Oh, that chicken looking to make a run for it. What a catch by Nash. Both these young gentlemen doing a good job of handling those birds. I will say, the smell of that funnel cake is incredible.
I think my wallet's in the car. We might have to go send it.
Hey, I got you.
Huh?
I got you if you want to.
I've got the list of exhibitors on the phone and pictures.
Cool, I don't know your
872-7727. Or we can swap. I can call it, and you can do that if you want.
I don't care.
If you're having fun.
I'm just sitting, man. I'm just on the phone for most of this.
I think Nash might.
There we go, folks. I don't know how much of that little side conversation came through the microphone, but the Redneck Smoke food truck is currently set up right outside the pavilion. And my goodness, they got some funnel cake happening over there, and oh my goodness, I could just about jump off of this booth and run over there right now. Get me a sweet treat. But talk about sweet. These 2 young gentlemen in the ring doing a great job of handling these chickens, enjoying the open class, answering some questions from the judge, getting their showman's IQ tested.
All right, we have our open poultry here. These two did a very good job. Obviously, they work with their birds a lot, and they are very trusting of them. They both are knowledgeable and well on their way to being excellent poultry showmen. I'm going to have you guys say your names, and we'll get you your ribbon.
What? Calton. Calton. My name is Nash.
There we go, folks. Kelton and Nash. Big round of applause here at the Los Animas County Fair. They're getting participation ribbons and a little bit of cash for their efforts. Next up in the ring, I believe we're going to have our... We've got class of market turkeys coming up. Both these young gentlemen showing their tom turkeys.
I just want to take a quick minute. I don't know if anyone knows, but October 11th, there is going to be an open rabbit show, an ARBA open rabbit show in the building right over here. If you guys are interested in rabbits or even just want to see the different breeds and how breeding shows run, because they are a whole other ballgame.
And here's these two young gentlemen, Blake and Mason, two representatives of the Branson High School, both rising seniors for the upcoming year. They've got two tom turkeys. Actually, excuse me, we've got Tate Baker and Blake Olguin. Mason Riddle's the one handling Blake's other tom turkey. And Tate Baker bringing his in cages, assisted by his mother, Mandy Baker, and Will Doherty. I think these turkeys are being judged as a pen of two. You know, every so often at the Los Angeles County Fair, we have turkeys. It's not every year, but this is the second, at least the second year in a row, we've had some turkeys represented at the show. And I find it always very interesting to see how the judges approach assessing these birds. You know, she's just kind of manhandling that bird, looking at the feathers, looking at the plumage. Maybe checking out the meat capacity on them. Spreading out that bird. You know, we're a little ways separated from Thanksgiving. And, you know, the turkeys you see there for the Thanksgiving birds, the ones that are all massively puffed up, I think these are younger birds. These are younger turkeys. I think you could probably feed them out for several more months before you get to turkey season. Now judge progressing onto Mr. Tate Baker's bird. Getting a look at that fine specimen. And I find it interesting for the poultry and rabbit shows. There's really no defined etiquette for how you show these birds, at least for the Los Angeles County Fair. I know that for the bigger shows with higher numbers of birds, sometimes there is a showmanship aspect of showing birds where you kind of flip them upside down and examine all their musculature and feathers from that angle. But for these birds, I think it's kind of, and for our level of show, this is about what goes, just kind of however the judge feels best to assess. And I find it interesting that both Tate and Blake, Mr. Olguin and Mr. Baker, have come out here with domino birds. They've got one white one, one black one. I'm curious if the judge is going to factor uniformity into her market assessment, but here we are to see.
All right. So we have our 4 market turkeys up here. I'm going to take a second to tell you why I even know anything about market turkeys. So I had a friend in high school who always showed market turkeys, and he always lost every single year. He lost. His very, very, very last year of fair, he brought this like 50-pound tom and won. He probably shouldn't have won. I actually felt the bird that lost to him, and I think the bird that lost to him was a better bird. But whatever, he won. It was his shining moment. He talked about that for the next 10 years. Every time we would have a conversation, at some point he'd be like, do you remember that time that I won grand champion with my market turkey? Every single time. So I learned a lot about market turkeys from him. I learned a lot because I actually ended up helping the girl that beat him every year handle her turkey because she was always afraid of it. So I learned a lot about market turkeys there. These guys are all very healthy. They're very good. When we look at market turkeys, we're not looking at breed characteristics, because if I'm looking at breed characteristics, this little royal palm down here on the end probably takes the cake. These guys are a heritage breed. They are not super easy to breed. And if you look at pictures of them, they're the really pretty like black and white bands on their tails, but they're not really market breeds, unfortunately. So that bird's gonna be 4th place. When we get into the broad-breasted bronze and the broad-breasted whites, whenever I have a new 4-H family come and ask me, how do I raise a market turkey? I have a list of advice that I give them. But I usually also say, directly to the mom, you're gonna be better at this than dad's. Because who goes and buys the Thanksgiving turkey? Mom. Mom buys the turkey. Even if dad buys the turkey, mom usually is the one preparing it to cook it. Typically, moms, and especially grandmas, are very good at picking the better market turkey. The reason for this is because they know what they want to cook and put on their table for the family. So we have to approach it with that mindset. And you guys don't have any here, which is good. I see this a lot at different fairs and with different 4-H'ers. They will bring these 50-pound toms, and when they walk, their knees are turned in, they waddle, and as they walk, their entire breast jiggles. That's not what we want, because that's not meat. That's actually fluid in between the skin and the meat. So even though it makes them weigh more, it makes them look very large, you're not gonna get a good market bird out of that. We also wanna make sure that they can move, because if they're super stiff, it's not gonna be a good quality meat. And we wanna make sure that there's a good amount of meat across the turkey's breast as well. So that's why I pulled these 2 out of the cage. I was pulling their wings out, seeing how well they were moving their wings, if they're lifting them up, stuff like that. So the little broad-breasted bronze here is gonna be 3rd, just because he's a little bit smaller. He's not quite ready to butcher, but he's gonna be great for Thanksgiving. If you keep feeding him, he probably has another, I would say 60 days until he's ready to butcher, but he's gonna be good. He'll be a good one. Reserve is gonna be this broad-breasted, and grand is gonna be the white. I literally changed my mind about 15 seconds before I picked up the microphone, and I'll tell you why. When these birds stand up, look at how the bronze holds his legs and walks compared to the white. The bronze has his knees turned in a little bit, which to me tells me that he's a little bit stiffer and the meat's not gonna be quite as good of a quality. The white does not have that. They are both very consistent. They both have a good meat quality. We don't have weights on them, but my guess is when these are dressed out, they're gonna be roughly 8-pound turkeys. So you could feed them for a little bit longer, get a bigger turkey. They're both good, but you will have to butcher that bronze before you butcher the white, because if he carries too much more weight, you're gonna start running into issues with his legs.
And there you have it, folks. Tate Baker taking home grand and reserve for his 2 Market Tom turkeys. Judge this time going with the bigger birds. They're a little bit more market ready at the moment. But my goodness, folks, the only
First
thing
place goes to Tate Baker. Second place goes to Tate Baker. Third place, Blake O'Gean. Fourth place, Blake O'Gean. We will now have the Market Turkey Young Hen entries Tate Baker and Blake O'Gean.
Sorry, folks, so that was not a grand and reserve situation. My apologies for that. We got just first and second place. I don't know if they're going to just qualify the first places for the Poultry Grand Drive. I don't know exactly how they're going to do it. It's always a little interesting. We've got our young turkey hens in the market class.
Next is the Market Duck Young Drake class, Dalton Dahlrick.
And here's our young hen class of turkeys. Blake O'Gean and, you guessed it, Tate Baker back in the ring. You know, I think it's interesting the judge has these birds out. You can see the side-by-side comparison of Mr. Baker's turkey versus Mr. O'Gean's. You can see a little bit of a size advantage going towards Mr. Baker's. We'll see. And last time the judge went with the bigger birds. So we'll see if that pattern holds.
All right. So I was talking to these boys about the same thing with the meat quality, and I was having them compare the two. So our Royal Palm over here, while she is very cute and will make a wonderful breeding bird, especially since he has the Royal Palm Tom as well, she's not a very good meat bird, so she's going to be second, and the broad-breasted bronze is going to be first. So I was giving them the opportunity to be able to feel the difference in the two. And if you guys have the opportunity to come up and ask these boys about feeling their birds, please do, because you can definitely feel the difference. So second and first.
And there you have it, folks. Judge going with the same pattern as last time, going size over pretty looks for the market birds. Tate Baker taking first place with his hen turkey.
First place in the young turkey, Market Turkey Young Hen is Tate Baker. Second place, Blake O'Gean. Up next is Market Ducks with Dalton Dahlrick with a young Drake.
Next up, we've got Market Ducks Young Drake. We'll have Dalton Dahlrick, our sole entrant for the day. We'll be seeing them in a second as we get the tables all cleaned off from the bird residue. I think most of that grass was primarily for the rabbits. So we'll get the ducks out here in just a second.
If Will Doherty could be getting ready with his Market Drake young hen.
All right. This Market Drake is very good. He's very healthy, very well cared for. You can take it back if you want. He's going to get first place today.
There we go. First place for the Drake class goes to Dalton Dahlrick. Keeping it nice and quick.
Will Doherty, please enter the ring.
We're trying to
Up
keep.
next is the Market Chickens, pin of 3 broilers. Elise Comden, Daniel Garcia, Julian Garcia, Calic Minsick, and Ty Wilson.
Here's our next market class of ducks. 1 Drake, 1 hen. And you know, folks, if you asked me to tell you which one's which, I don't think I could. They both look like ducks to me, and they are darn near identical. Maybe the one on the far end of the screen is the Drake. Maybe just with the darker colors, but I couldn't tell you.
All right, so for our 2 market hens up here, we have 2 lovely silver apple yards. I'm assuming they're from the same hatch. They're fairly similar. Their coloring is a little bit different, which doesn't really matter for markets, but they feel very similar as well. So this one is going to be second. This one is going to be first. When it comes to market ducks, it's a little bit harder than turkeys and chickens because they have so much fluff that we can't really feel them. But the first place hen does have a little bit more meat and is a little closer to butchering. They are still on the young side. You probably have another month or so until they're really ready to butcher. But honestly, that's probably a decent place to be at fair because by the time that we all get through fair and the craziness of our lives, it's going to be 2 to 3 weeks before we butcher them anyway. So if you want to...
There we go, and Will's market ducks, still couldn't tell you which one. Judge probably said it, but I haven't been listening for a minute, and I apologize for that, folks.
Okay, if we
But
could
we're
have
all
the
good.
market chickens, pin of 3 broilers.
Next up, we've got a whole bunch of market chickens.
Garcia, Julian Garcia, Callie Minsick.
And here is our first class of market chickens, pen of 3 broilers. Out here we've got Elise Comden, Daniel Garcia, 2 pens for him, 2 pens for Julian Garcia, and we got pen of chickens for
Market
Callie
poultry
Minsick and Ty
market
Wilson.
rabbit exhibitors. You will need to take your pictures tomorrow. We're not able to take them after the show today.
And here we got an angle of our judge going through and assessing each of the birds. Getting a feel for the structure, getting a feel for the meat. Seeing how them cluckers stack up.
If the next class could be getting ready, market chickens, pen of 3 dual purpose, Eleanor Comden, Ethlyn Comden, Dalton Dalrick, Mason Riddle, Kennedy Squires, Addison Terry, Ty Wilson, and John Terry.
I haven't done any of that. Yeah. Okay, cool. Hey, Mr. Brett.
All right. So we have 6 very good pens of market broilers here. First of all, these kids deserve a round of applause because these are not easy birds to raise. So the problem that we run into with this specific type of bird here in Colorado is that sometimes, especially if you live at higher elevations, they just die. You're like, they'll be healthy, everything looks great, and you walk out one morning and they're just dead, and there's no reason. They get very large very quickly. The butcher date for them is about 90 days. So we usually keep them very young, and you butcher them very early. But you can grow a lot of birds very quickly and cycle through them like 4 sets a year if you are looking to raise market birds. So much like the rabbits, I want to see mirror images of the birds in the cages. And these guys all did a very good job. There was a couple of them that had one bird that was mismatched. But even when you feel them, I'm feeling for a lot of the same things that I am for the turkeys. So we are going to have... What place do you want me to go for? Go place them all. Okay. 6th place, 5th place, 4th place. Sorry. 6, 5. This one. 4th. Yeah. 3rd place. 2nd place. And 1st place. The 1st and 2nd place pens. 1st and 2nd place pens are both ready to butcher. The 3rd through 6th have a little bit more time to go. They just don't have quite as much meat on them. They're very good birds. They just need a little bit more meat before we butcher them. The 2nd place and 1st place were both very close. There's just one slightly mismatched smaller bird in the 2nd place compared to the 1st.
Results of the market chickens pen of 3 broilers. 1st place, Callie Mensick. 2nd place, Elise Comden. 3rd place, Daniel Garcia. 4th place, Julian Garcia.
There you have it, folks. There's your market pen of 3 broiler results. Callie Minsick coming away with the 1st place results. Elise Comden in 2nd. And on down the line. And here we are setting up another table in the ring. Looks like we're expecting a lot of birds for our next class. Which I believe next is a market chicken pen of 3 dual purpose birds.
Okay, if I could have the market chicken pen of 3 dual purpose, if you could enter in that gate, Eleanor Comden, Ethlyn Comden, Dalton Dahlrick, Mason Riddle, Kennedy Squires, Addison Terry, Ty Wilson, and Bobby Terry.
We've got quite a few birds entering the ring. I think just heard from Miss Lori Arnold. And these will be dual purpose birds, so chickens that are both capable of egg laying as well as being butchered for meat.
After this, we'll be selecting the Grand Champion Market Poultry.
You know, folks, while we're going down the line here, we'd like to take a second to thank some of our sponsors of this Poultry and Rabbit Show broadcast, as well as all of our broadcasts for the Los Animas County Fair. We've got our fantastic friends at Colorado Fence and Welding. Give them a contact for any of your fencing needs. This is Justin Sumter, one of the officials on the fair board, has been helping out all across. I'm not sure if he's on the fair board still, but helping out all across County Fair and just being a big part of the community, contributing to 4-H. If you have any fencing or welding needs, give him a call. Next we have HULA, Huerfano, Los Angeles County's Early Childhood Advisory Council. They are... Excuse me, sorry folks, we're having some technical difficulties in the background. Good time to be reading ads. They are a fantastic resource for early childhood stuff as far as my experience. Yeah, we are very thankful for them stepping up to help sponsor this Los Animas County fair. Next up, we have Rattlesnake Fencing, our second of our fencing sponsors. If you have any fencing needs out here in the Trinidad area, give that phone a call. This is run by the Zelli family. You may be familiar with them for their Zelli hunting and operations, or their guiding operations, rather. So, yeah, give them a call for your fencing needs. Next up is Wilkinson Gelbvieh. They've been involved in the 4-H community for a very long time, raising Gelbvieh cattle, and they're very proud sponsors of all 4-H activities. Let them know if you have any cattle needs. Moving on down the lines, we've got lots of chickens, lots of dual-purpose birds. And if you happen to have missed the lineups that were called, currently out there at the table, we have Addison Terry, Kennedy Squires, 2 pens for Mason Riddle, Brody Gonzalez, Dalton Dahlrick, Ethelyn Comden, and Eleanor Comden. I don't believe that's the order that they are sitting at the table. That is where they've gotten. I find it interesting for the these pens of dual-purpose birds. You can have all shapes and sizes. For the market birds, sometimes you really just get the big jumbo cross rocks, the big old white birds. And those are just the ones that happen to look and do the best in these market pens. But for these dual-purpose birds, you can kind of get all shapes and sizes, all different kind of looks. And at some of the bigger poultry shows, I don't know, I saw a random documentary on it one time, but they break it up based by breed, and you kind of have the different breeds of chickens are all assessed based on how well they conform to the breed standards. And then the Grand Champion chicken is picked out of those separate breeds. But here for like the dual purpose, it's just kind of comparing the general attributes over any breed specifics. But a lot of it does come down to the discretion of the judge, and we're excited to see how she ends up stacking up the birds. We've seen her go for different things based on the different breeds she's looking for. We've seen her select based on uniformity, as well as for just general meatiness. So we'll see if that is the case for these birds. After this, I believe we will have our poultry grand drive for all of our first place finishers in the categories. We'll get a quick camera switch over to our 3 first place finishers so far from the pens of market broilers, ducks, and turkeys. I think we've got another set of ducks out there somewhere and another turkey to fly in from after this dual purpose set. So I think we're on the last cage for these market chickens. I think we'll have our determination here momentarily.
so we have our Market Penza 3 dual-purpose birds up here. We have quite the variety. As you guys can see, they do not all look exactly the same like the last class, but these birds are all bred to be what we think of as the traditional farm chicken. You feed it, it lays eggs, then you go and you butcher it when you want chicken dinner, right? Compared to the other ones, which have a very short lifespan, we butcher them at about 90 days, and that's their only purpose. These guys are bred to take a little bit longer to grow to fully grown. They maybe don't produce quite as large of a chicken when you butcher them, but they are a very, very good, also cold hardy, tend to be very cold hardy variety of chickens. So what is very interesting, you guys did an amazing job of matching your birds. This is probably the best fair I've ever been to with bird matching. You guys did an awesome job of it this year. Sorry, I'm making sure that I start at the right numbers. So we are gonna go with these girls over here for 9th place. They are more of a production bird than a meat bird. They do not have a whole lot of meat on them. They're gonna stay fairly slender and lay eggs, which is great because if you guys eat eggs like my family eats eggs, I need about 12 of these. We're gonna go 8th place. The White Rocks down here. These guys, 3rd through 9th place guys are all very, very similar. It's very minor things with how they're carrying themselves in meat that's making the difference. They are just not quite ready. They're young. They're gonna be, when they get fully grown, they're gonna be a bit bigger. 7th, 6th, sorry, I'm slowing down. 5th place to the Colombian Wyandottes. 4th to the Buff Orpingtons. 3rd to the Buff Brahmas. 2nd to the Jersey Giants. And 1st to the Delawares. So a little bit about the Delaware. I asked where he got these from, and they most likely, you said Murray McMurray. So they're most likely crossed with something. My guess would be something along the lines of either a Plymouth Rock or maybe a Rhode Island Red, Rhode Island White. These guys, and we'll see it here in a minute when we put them side by side, these guys were the market standard before the Cornish cross became the market standard in the 1970s. So you guys will see how they carry themselves. They have a very good chicken breast on them. They just take much longer to grow. They take closer to 8 months to be ready to butcher compared to the 90 days for the broilers.
And there you have it, folks. Mason Riddle taking the 1st and 2nd place honors for this pen of 3 dual-purpose birds.
Place goes to Mason Riddle. 2nd place, Mason Riddle. 3rd place,
I believe next up we are going to have our, our grand drive for the poultry.
Mason Riddle, Callie Mincy, Bill Doherty.
And I always find it interesting when we're talking about the grand drive for poultry where we've got multiple species at play here. We've got dual-purpose chickens, we've got big old beefy market chickens, we've got a duck, we've got turkeys. I think we've got, multiple turkeys, multiple ducks. The whole gamut to pick from for our judge here. Going down the line here, you see some of our competitors in this grand drive. Two turkeys on the far end, and we got a duck, courtesy of Will Doherty. We've got Mason Riddle's dual-purpose birds, and then Callie Minsick's first place market chickens. Oh, and here we have Dalton Dahlrich's market drake. I believe was that young bird right there. And I don't know why ducks ducks are some of the funniest creatures to hold, but let's hear from the judge as he talks about these birds.
All right, all of these birds are very healthy, very well cared for, great market birds here. We are gonna go with, before I announce anything, you guys can see these birds, right? So once we butcher these out, they're gonna be about the same size. These ones may be a little bit leaner compared to the broilers, but these guys take about half to a third of the time to grow, which is why they're now the market. What we use when you go to the store and you buy a bird, it's most likely this breed over something like this for that reason. Whereas those of us, especially in Colorado, who like to keep our birds alive in the winter, we prefer something like this. It's a little cold hardier, lays us eggs, and then when they're ready to butcher, we can butcher them and put them in our freezer. All right, so, okay. All right, our reserve champion is gonna be the turkey hen, and our grand champion is gonna be the broilers. Just because the broilers are ready to butcher. The turkey has a little bit longer to grow, but they are both very exceptional market birds.
And there you have it, folks. Reserve champion goes to Tate Baker's turkey hen. Grand champion went to Callie Minsick's broiler chickens. So there you have it. Picking the girthiest, meatiest birds out there. Love to see it. And that just about does it for our market poultry show. We'll have some buckle presentations and such in just a moment.
Our grand champion market poultry goes to Callie Minsick. The buckle is donated by Dahlrick Cattle Company. And our reserve grand champion market poultry goes to Tate Baker, and it is donated by the Scott Ranch. Let's give our winners a loud applause.
Yep, folks, that'll about do it for our market poultry presentation. It's been a whole lot of fun bringing it to you. Lots of fun critters, and we'll wrap it up here. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow morning for our presentations of the round robin judging contest on Saturday, as well as, let's see what else is on Saturday. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh, wait a minute. We have a schedule, I believe, that we can. Oh, there we have it. Saturday, we have the round robin at 9 a.m. and the market sale at 6 that we will be bringing you coverage of. So tune into the Saddle Rock Sports Network for coverage of both of those. Arguably two of the most fun events at the Los Animas County Fair. So, oh, never mind. I thought we were just about done. We've got another pen of ducks. I think we've got breeding ducks yet to come. Just when we thought it was over, folks.
Condon and Dalton Dahlrick, please be getting ready to enter the ring. It's Class American, Class 1 hen.
And here we have, we're doing all the breeding for all the poultry. I think we got them separated by classes. So we've got them separated by classes, so I think this is American hen. I'm not sure if that's just a specific breeding category, if that's a breed in and of itself, but we're about to find out. You know, while we're bringing that in, why don't we take a second to hear from one of our fantastic sponsors, LARCC Trucking.
LARCC Trucking is the place to call if you have something to haul. A family-owned trucking business since 2021, LARCC is named after the owner's children, their motivation to create a successful future. LARCC is ready to help you haul your hay, cattle, gravel, or equipment anywhere in southwestern United States. LARCC also buys and sells hay. Give them a call today at 970-274-0826 and get ready to haul.
Big thanks to LARCC Trucking and all they've done to support the Los Animas County Fair. Currently in a stare down with my brother across the way. He's refusing to get me food, but that's okay. Looking at these breeding chickens, we've got Mr. Dalton Dahlrick and Ms. Eleanor Comden showing off their American breeding hens. I think we're about to get a word from the judge about this class of birds.
All right, we have a couple of very good. These are all hens, right? This is the hen class. Or they are both very good-looking birds, though. I can tell that they are both going to be, if they are not already producing a great amount of eggs at the moment, they will be soon. They both feel like they're already laying, though. We're going to go with first place being the sex-link hen and second place for the Dominique. Is that what she is? Dominique, or is she why not? Plymouth Rock. Okay. Yeah, they're both, and that's primarily off of condition. The Plymouth Rock just looks like she's maybe getting a little hot and trying to lose her feathers. You guys are good.
And there you have it, folks, for that class of breeding chickens. I think we had second place go to Eleanor Comden and first place to Dalton Dahlrick. I think we've got a few more classes of breeding hens still to go, as well as some breeding ducks.
In the American class, first goes to Dalton Dahlrick, second goes to Eleanor Comden. Up next is the Asiatic class, one hen, Dalton Dahlrick and Kennedy Squires.
Next up, we've got Asiatic birds. More breeding cluckers. Two more hens in this class of chickens. Got Dalton Dahlrick and Kennedy Squires with their Asiatic breeds of birds.
All right, so we have some very adorable buff Brahma pullets up here, or hens. We are going to go with first place and second place. First place is a little more consistent coloring across the back. Second place just has some spots, some black spots, which happens. A lot of them tend to get them as they molt. So
There we have it. First place once again goes to Dalton Dahlrick. Second place to Ms. Kennedy Squires.
First place, Kennedy Squires. Second place, Dalton Dahlrick. Up next, English class, 1 hen, Ethlyn Condon.
Sorry, folks. I think I was actually backwards on those results. I think Kennedy Squires got first place, and Dalton Dahlrick took second. Now I'm unsure if there will be a breeding grand drive, if we're just calling it with each of the breeds, but we shall certainly see. Looks like we've got another breeding bird. Looks like this could be a single bird class with Ethlyn Comden. We got a very gracious and elegant smile for Miss Comden. I think we kind of missed it. But Mr. Brad down. Evelyn putting on a little bit of a show. Oh, never mind. Here's our second bird from Dalton Dahlrick. Ethlyn Comden with, this will be a little bit of a shameless promo for an upcoming production of Annie that Miss Ethlyn Comden did. And you see that reddish sheen to her hair is not her natural color. She has dyed it for her role as Annie in the Main Street Live production of said show, which will be showing at the Masari Theater here in Trinidad. It will be August 1st through 3rd, and then the 8th through the 10th. So the first 2 weekends of August, you can get tickets for Annie showing at the Masari Theater. You can go to mainstreetlive.com for tickets and other information, and come out and continue to support the events in your community in all that they do. Showing jiggins, singing and dancing. All lots of fun and games.
a lot of that is based off of condition, and you can tell that the second place hen, she's a good egg layer. She's got quite a bit of, she has a pretty big abdomen. I'm sure she lays a lot of eggs pretty consistently for you. This one on the first place hen does as well, but her abdomen was not quite as big. Great job, guys.
First place, Dalton Dahlrick. Second place, Ethlyn Comden. Up next is all other standard breeds, Elise Comden.
All right. We have first place here. She has a, if anyone can pronounce the name of this breed, I will let you come up and say it. It is German, and I have no idea how to pronounce it, but it is a very beautiful bird.
First place goes to Elise Compton. Up next will be the breeding ducks. One drake, one hen. Will Doherty, Will Doherty.
Coming up now, we've got your breeding ducks. Brother of mine, Will Doherty. Couple pens of drakes and hens. Switching camera angles just a little bit to capture some possible shenaniganery. As you'll see, our production champion, Mr. Brad Doherty, off on the side doing his best chicken dance impression. On the other side of the camera, though, Will Doherty steely-faced, discussing his ducks with gusto. Not even a shake, despite the best efforts of Mr. Brad. Will Doherty entirely dialed in on those ducks. He is not giving an inch. Steely-faced. Mr. Brad over in the orange, surrounded by his sisters and his mother. Maybe not surrounded by, but adjacent to. Mr. Brad giving him his, oh, he's exhibiting the pony trot. Oh, yeah. Oh, he's taking elevation. He's up a second step. Oh, it looks like we may have got a grin out of Mr. Doherty. Aaron Comden joining on the festivities as well. We've got several graceful ducklings taking flight on the side. We'll see.
All right. We have some really good silver apple yards up here. We're going to go with first place and second place. Very minor coloring. I'm guessing they came from the same breeder. But they're very, very similar. But good job with all of them.
And shocking nobody. First place, Will Doherty. Second place, Will Doherty.
We can have the first places come in. Will Doherty.
Next up, we will have a grand drive for all of our breeding poultry. We have several different birds and a couple ducks.
Grand champion poultry buckle was donated by Nano and Nanos.
Oh my goodness, we may have the most delicious poultry buckle sponsor of the day. Nana and Nano's Italian cuisine. And it is right around noon. Thankfully, Ms. Jody Doherty had flown up a granola bar. It was rather delicious. But he's got me wanting more. And all these chickens lining up right there. So pretty and delicious looking. I don't know if I can take it. I'm losing my mind, y'all. Here's your chickens. 2 courtesy of Dalton Dollarick. Here's for the judge.
These are our top chickens for this show. We're going to announce Grand Champion Reserve here in just a second. I would just like to say thank you to any of the sponsors, fair sponsors, buckle sponsors, parents, grandparents, 4-H leaders, superintendents, extension agents, everyone. There is so much work that goes into this, and the kids are up here with their birds, and this is what we're talking about, but realistically, all of you guys put in just as much effort getting them to meetings, working with birds, listening to, I have a child in 4-H too, and I have listened to him ramble about some of the craziest things, and I'm just like, yeah, sure, sounds great. But you guys do so much work, it needs to be recognized as well. All right, we are going to go with our reserve champion is going to be the Buff Brahma, and Grand will be the Paradox.
There you have it, folks. In a class full of chickens, the ducks come out on top. Grand champion goes to Will Doherty. Reserve goes to that young lady whose name I've forgotten, but Miss Lori is going to remind us.
Grand Champion Poultry goes to Will Doherty. Reserve Grand Champion Poultry goes to Kennedy Squires. Congratulations. This completes our poultry show. Thank you so much for attending.
That'll do it for our poultry show. Massive thank you to all of our Saddle Rock Sports Network sponsors, as well as all of our Los Animas County Fair sponsors for stepping up and making this happen. It's been a fun poultry show. Massive congratulations to Will Doherty for his breeding poultry, Callie Minsick for her market poultry, and all the way back on the rabbit show, I forget who we had win that, but massive congratulations to all of our competitors, all of our showmen, and all of our fun animal showmen. So it has been a whole lot of fun. I've been Brody Doherty. Catch us tomorrow for all of our broadcasts, including the Round Robin and the Market Sale. Those are all of our broadcasts, our 2 broadcasts. It'll be fun. So come stick around. It will be a good time.